I didn't have my first sexual interlude until I was 21, which is ancient for the 60s. You're talking peace and love in the 60s. And my brother goes, hey, what's wrong with you, man? I said, nah,
Oh,
no,
Sly,
man.
shut up.
What the is going on?
I like to party.
Jesus, honey, wax much?
This is Unwaxed
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
with Sophia and Sistine Stallone.
Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Okay, you guys. Sophia and I really did not want to do an intro for today's episode because our guest is so phenomenal that one was not needed. This guest has been a long time coming. Known for his extensive music career, he has 3 platinum albums, 10 gold albums, and has even acted in over 60 films. But aside from being an excellent performer, our guest was once an amateur boxer, was accidentally shot in a gun store, and can tell you random facts like no other. This Grammy and Golden Globe nominated artist pushes our buttons like no one else. This is our Uncle Frank.
Thank you, my little...
AKA Frank Stallone, people.
My little sweeties, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I was kind of skeptical in the old days because I heard they were doing a podcast, and they go, hey, do you want to be on? I said, I'd be on a podcast. And now here I am.
You gave us so much crap about
I know
this
I did.
podcast initially.
I know I
And
did.
I was so hesitant about having you on in the beginning just because I was so...
I'm a little bit of a loose cannon, too.
Yeah.
But that's why you're perfect for this podcast and the brand of it. You are truly unwaxed.
I am unwaxed.
You are unwaxed.
Unhinged, actually.
Unhinged, all of it. So what was really interesting was I was Googling you the other day. I just wanted to get sort of your resume, what you've done. And the first thing that came up, and I need you to clarify this for me, is your real name Francisco?
No, actually, it's Frank Stallone Jr., but on my father's army thing, it says Francesco. So Italian would be Francesco.
So why does it say Francesco online?
I have no idea. No one's ever called me Francesco.
Why don't you just change your name and tell Brandon?
No,
to go to
Frank is
I think
much better.
Francesco would be a little too greasy. Hello, darling. My name is Francesco.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A little
I
too,
mean, it kind of is working
Really
right
play
now.
up the
Little
old school
over-Italian.
Italian thing.
Yeah.
I think we should just jump right into your music career. That is
Okay.
what you're known for.
Yeah.
You're a guitarist, a songwriter. Your love, correct me if I'm wrong, started with music when you were very young.
Yeah, I started singing really kind of around the house when I was 5 years old. And then I was very privileged to be at the beginning of rock and roll because I was over, which would be your great aunt, my aunt Nancy, who lived, by the way, to 99.
Wow.
And she spoke like it is. She talk heat. No, they're
This
all
whole podcast is
all-
going to be accents.
Yeah, they're
I love
all
it.
off the boat, you know. So,
Right.
so they go. I hear it tonight. This Elvis guy gonna be on the TV. So I said, okay. So we all had dinner in those days. We'd all get together, the Italian family, and have Sunday dinner. And Ed Sullivan, which was the biggest show on TV, was on at 8:00 every Sunday for like 30 some years.
Right.
We're sitting there. I'm with my cousin Eddie and Diane and my father and the old adults off the boat. So all of a sudden, right here, Elvis. And man, I saw this guy go, oh yeah, this is exactly what I want to be. I mean, the floppy hair.
Elvis was
So
your
Elvis
icon.
was the
Oh, absolutely.
inspiration.
Wow.
Oh yeah, when he came on, well, I mean, I sang around the house like, you know, goofy songs of the 50s. But when Elvis came on, it was like, oh, no one ever seen anything like this in our life.
Right.
Of course, my cousin Eddie, we're sitting there going, oh God, this is so cool. My aunt and uncle sitting there, oh, Jesus Christ, what is this guy? Well, with the dancing around, the hair flipping, thank you very much, baby. It was a phenom. It was one of the most watched shows in the history of TV.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense why he would be your inspiration,
Yeah.
because the way that you perform, your stage presence is so captivating. You guys have similar moves. You have a lot of hips and you're pointing to people. And now I
Pointing,
see a
yeah.
lot of similarities between you and Elvis.
Yeah, the pointing. Yeah. Well, I think he did a little better than me, but other than that, I mean, but it was just a phenom to see. I mean, because he was like the best looking guy in the world, had
Right.
the coolest hair. It was just
Got all the girls.
Yeah, all the girls. Like today, you have your idols, but he was just bigger than anything we had ever seen. Then I started singing. I was listening to Everly Brothers, Bill Haley, and the Comets. All that was real rock and roll radio. And then, of course, in 1963, when we saw the Beatles, that put the nail in the coffin. That was
And
it.
you're like, this is it. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I witnessed the British invasion, the Beatles, and I witnessed Elvis on TV, and I said, this is it, man. Because I really was not a good student. You know, I went to 9 different schools.
Wait, so I was going to ask you about that because I know my dad told us that he was kicked out at 13. Was that kind of the same
I didn't
for
get. He
you?
got kicked out. I never got kicked out. He was.
You were a much better
But why did you go
child.
to 9 different schools?
Yeah.
Well, because let's put it in a nutshell. This will probably tell you why I'm not married. My mother was married 5 times. My father's married 4 times.
Right.
Boing.
Bang! Yeah, really good blueprint out there for for marriage.
Good examples.
Yeah,
yes.
really good examples. And everyone in my family was divorced, except
it's
my
true.
aunt Tatina, who never came here. She stayed in Italy. She stayed married for like 70 years.
Maybe
She
that's
was a
what
smart
the
one.
key was, staying in Italy.
Huh?
Maybe Key was staying in Italy, not coming to
Key.
California.
Yeah, I mean, by the time they came over, she was married already, 1932 when they came over.
Wow.
But your great-grandfather, Silvestro, he came over in like 1919. But he came over with my aunt. He came over with my Aunt Kelleen.
Mm-hmm.
And in those days, so he was a barber. So he worked. And believe it was interesting, and like 11, 12 years later, he brings the rest of the family over. So he was gone for years and years at a time. They're building. And you got to admit, for a guy that was born in 1883, he had his own barbershop. So he was,
He did pretty well.
yeah, he was
So-
a barber.
Yeah.
Because of all of the different marriages, and
Yeah, yeah.
is that why you guys were constantly moving schools, or why were you moving schools?
We were in Maryland, Sly and I, and we were going to school. And then my mother flew the coop. And so then I ended up in midstream going to Catholic school, which was night and day from public school.
Yeah.
Catholic school, they were writing longhand. We were still printing. This is the first grade.
Right.
So overnight, I swear to God, it was like it was kidnapped. Like I was sitting there, hey, well, what happened? I came home and I rang the doorbell and I sat there for 5 hours. No one came to the door. My mother had taken off. She left. My father comes home wearing his, hairdressing outfit, the tunic, the white, like a doctor's smock.
Yeah.
And he said, pack up. And I went to my Aunt Rose's that night, went to Catholic school the next day, and flunked first grade.
So I have so many questions, and
Mm-hmm.
I was watching your documentary the other day just because I wanted a refresher
Uh-huh.
on you, and there's so many stories of my dad being
Oh,
violent
torture.
towards you,
Oh.
which I want to get into. But what I found interesting is that you mentioned in your documentary that you even failed music class.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is your thing.
You
How do
failed
you
music
fail
class?
something that you're almost
Well,
a savant at?
Yeah, you know what? Because, again, in public school, you would think you'd start a little slow in music, but they start with, like, Shostakovich. We're
Right.
like,
Oh,
we're
what is
listening to
that?
Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix. And I go, what the hell is this,
Yeah,
right.
So I brought in the first Jimi Hendrix album, Are You Experienced, to music class. And the teacher goes, okay, Frank, let's see what we have. Like, almost like the church lady,
Yeah, right.
So he put it on. It was like Purple Haze. And the class is going, yeah. And he goes, by the way, that chord notation is taken from a Polybetzian theme. They're
You're like,
trying
what
to
the hell?
Oh, so they're
Yeah.
trying to really dissect it into something
dissect
that's like
it. But I think
impossible
if
to
they was
understand.
started more with popular music and
Yeah.
led into it, but they started with the really heavy classics.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, Tchaikovsky's Six, which is, I love all that music now, but it's hard for like a 12-year-old
Kid.
brain
Yeah.
to pull that in.
Right. Of course.
Wait, so this is totally off. I saw the guitar, and I remember when was your first guitar that you bought? And I remember a story that Dad also told me that he stole a guitar for you for like a
Jesus. You know
present.
what?
Did he
He
steal
still-
your first guitar?
Is that the first
no, it's
guitar
not
you
my
had?
first.
That's
I
okay.
had
Okay.
guitars. I had a lot. I had guitars. My first guitar was a cheap guitar. My mother bought, when my mother came back after a while, she had married this other guy, and she did a nice Christmas for us. Probably the only good one we had. But she bought 2 ukuleles, like with palm trees on them, for my brother and I, thinking we were going to be like the Everly Brothers or Simon and Garfunkel. Within 2 hours, he smashed it over my head. So the
Yeah,
ukulele.
he broke both of them.
Yeah, he broke both of
Smash
them.
it.
He also
Why
broke
did he
all.
do
No, but he
this?
also broke all of your instruments.
Everything. Terrible.
What is wrong? He's
He
so
was
jealous.
the original Dennis the Menace.
Yeah.
I think now when I look back, I think we both have serious ADD. I mean, I know I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
Absolutely.
And I don't think anyone knew how to address it because he was
no.
very hyperactive.
Right.
And also, he was a little self-conscious about his mouth and his.
Right.
So poor guy had the name Sylvester, and he kind of had a crooked mouth. So he used to get picked on, and he had my father's temper. He'd just punch you right in the nose. Wouldn't think twice about it. Like, bang. He was getting in fights every day. So then he kind of got into superheroes. He jumped off the roof of the house,
Oh, I
broke his
remember this,
collarbone.
yeah.
My father was like, God damn it, they're not. And my father was really, he was pretty mean. He
Yeah, he was
little excessive.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Both of your parents were a little bit
Little
much.
excessive, a little much. I mean, I remember he can't understand to this day. Yeah, Dad really beat the shit out of me. I said, Sly, you snuck out of the house at 13 and stole his Cadillac and got into an accident.
Okay,
Oh,
see, you know what? That's why I like talking to you.
That's true.
Because Sly never tells the truth about a story. And we
never.
get the honest truth from you.
That is true.
He stole a Cadillac at 13?
My father's Cadillac.
I would say, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that music really gave you a direction and a purpose. So you had something to focus on, whereas he didn't really know
I had
what
no
he
direction.
wanted.
No, he lived on
Exactly.
fight or flight the whole time.
He had no direction. He
Right.
was, but I will say one thing. We used to go to movies all the time. Believe it or not, it was 15 cents to get in.
It's crazy.
How nice is that?
And they just park you there
like
all
$30.
Saturday. There'd be 3 features, funnies, the newsreels, and we just sit there. I mean, for $1, you were like, are you kidding? It's like, we're rich. Candy was 5 cents. So he got into I was into the Elvis thing. He got into the Hercules superhero type thing. Which because he was skinny. And again, when you had the name Sylvester, the big thing there was Sylvester the Putty Cat. If you were going,
the
fucking
Putty Cat.
Oh, Sylvester,
And he would
I was saying
pop you.
yeah,
So
yeah. I remember
he was
that.
always getting in fights, and he was tough. He was wiry, but he had my father's temperament. He didn't give a shit.
I know Dad taught me growing up all about like Joseph Campbell and like Greek mythology and all this big.
He wasn't talking about that then.
Oh, was he? No, but maybe
He was
that's
talking
why.
about Joseph Campbell then. No.
No, he was telling me about it now, but I think that makes sense why he was loving Hercules because
Oh,
like all,
yeah.
all gods and stuff.
Well, that was the thing, because he was skinny,
Yeah.
And,
Do you think that maybe at that time when you found this thing that you really love and you're pursuing it and you're going for it, that he was resenting you because you found
he
your
definitely
thing?
resented me.
Right.
Oh yeah, he would always, like I'm saying, I'd be going anyway. He'd walk up and punch me in the nose, like for nothing. No
Wait,
reason.
so why did you hire him as a manager? And I know it lasted one day.
Yeah, he was a
I'll
manager
tell you
for
how
one
that
day.
happened.
Yeah.
Because
He
I
doesn't
think,
sound like a manager I would want to hire.
oh God, deep down, I think I'm just a natural singer. I mean, it was just natural for me. I didn't have to. And I think he resented it because he really wanted to be a singer.
I can attest to that because he'll sometimes belt in the bathroom.
He's a horrible singer.
horrible
He
singer.
might
But he
be-
tries.
he
He,
tries.
tries so hard.
And he would always bug my band. He'd come to rehearsal. Oh, you guys sound like a bunch of pussies. This is how you should sing it. And it was like all flat, and the guys would be like, and they were afraid of him because he was like bodybuilding. We were like skinny, anemic looking rock stars there, like now.
Right.
And
Why'd you hire him as a manager? after all
I
that?
didn't hire him. He hired himself. What happened was we went to a place on Roosevelt Boulevard where we lived in Philadelphia. It's a place called Jeans on the Boulevard. And I was definitely underage. I was like 15, maybe. And he was, well, if I was 15, he was like 18, 19. But I think he was still underage to drink. And he didn't really drink anyway that much. So we go in, there was a band playing, the Soultastics. And of course, he's sitting there. And he always had a lot of bravado. He would just go up to anybody, hey.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
goes, hey, you guys sound good, man. Then he goes, hey. And then, of course, he starts picking on me. Yeah, you guys, you dress like shit. This is how you should dress. I said, he goes, do you have a manager? They said, yeah, a guy named Jack McQuaid. And so he cuts the card. He goes, well, who are you? He goes, I'm their manager. So he's like,
He instantly just caused himself.
put
in.
himself in. And he got us an audition with this guy, Jack
really?
McQuaid, in the afternoon. Now, remember, they're just phones in those days, ring them up.
Right.
So we went down to this bad neighborhood, actually, where, God, I'm sick of these goddamn phones. That's it. I'm just turning it off. I don't want to hear from anybody. Know who that is?
Jennifer.
Who do you think?
My
It's
dad.
Jennifer or Sly.
Sly, probably.
Hello? Who's this? Oh, man, get lost.
It's a
What
girl.
was that?
I thought it was Sly. He's
No, that
always...
That sounds like a woman.
Did you hear that? That
Tell me
was
about it.
weird.
It
That
was
sounded
very
like one of your
weird.
girlfriends.
Wait, that was like what?
No, it was like a Martian or something.
No, it was like, huh?
And when I hear that, I think people try to be funny or use accents. I said, you already sound like a jerk off.
You use accent. Anywhere else? That like actually kind of scared me. I'll
No,
be
I
honest.
thought usually it's Sly.
Yeah,
It is.
And he
locked
would
him.
always have to call an opportune moment. But I know if it's him, he likes to FaceTime, which I hate.
Yeah, he does FaceTime all the time.
Hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm driving. Hello. So
Wait,
what
so
happened?
yeah, one day. It lasted one day. What happened?
Oh, so we went down, we auditioned. The guy liked us. He goes, yeah, but you got to get outfits. because we dressed like kind of like the Rolling Stones, you know, we were like into. So I said, what are we going to do? We have to get like outfits, which I really didn't want to do. So we went down, we found a clothes store. And if you see pictures, we had these wide, they're like heavy pants, but they were wide checked pants and orange turtlenecks.
Like wool pants?
Yeah, stupid. An orange turtleneck. Like, just the worst thing you could play in a group.
Horrible.
Yeah, we're sweating
not
to
the
death.
thing to wear.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And my hair was like curly. I was trying to straighten it. So I go on stage 5 minutes.
Oh God,
You know.
what is with you guys?
That's
and
a
straightening
look.
your hair.
That's a
I don't
look.
understand.
Now, your father had totally straight hair up until
Now it's really
his
curly.
50s. No, seriously, he had really thick, straight hair. And I freaked him out when his hair was getting curly because he used to always tease me. I said, how you like it now, pal? But his hair had really, you saw like Lords of Flatbush. That's what his hair was
Yes.
like.
Yeah.
But
Very.
through all of this, you actually ended up being successful, which is crazy that you started out in this like chaotic kind of
It's
childhood
amazing.
and like beginning early stages of the career, which
Yeah.
you really never know. I mean, I think that's how all creatives are. It's never going to be an easier
Yeah, I
path.
mean,
But you
we're-
guys really had all the odds against you.
Everything. We don't have any, I mean, the closest, I mean, no one has any talent in my family. I mean, not you guys, but I'm talking like, if we're looking at
you.
my aunts and
we do what we can.
uncles and stuff like that, there was no, it wasn't like, you know,
But you
a
and my
musical prodigies.
But you and my dad really did have something there. Like it was, which is
It must
crazy.
be somewhere in the genes somewhere.
Somewhere. I don't know.
So I haven't seen it yet.
He
because
definitely can't cut hair for his like
he
his
is
life.
the worst.
He's the worst.
You know how many times he's cut my hair?
You know how many
and
times
ruined,
he's cut our hair and dyed our hair?
ruined it.
Ruined it.
Completely
He
demolished
would do it all the time. We were in Florida. He goes, hey, here's the, when he cut it, I go, hey, man, you know, being the little brother, okay. And just like it was
Chopped it
crooked,
off.
lopsided.
Horrible.
horrible.
But you ended up having a pretty successful career. I mean, Sistine and I, we watched obviously your documentary and just seeing your timeline through it.
But what's interesting is, you know, of course, every time you go up, there's a lot of disappointment that comes with getting there. And
Major.
you were really vulnerable. If you guys haven't seen his documentary, it's called Stallone, Frank that is.
I
It's
want to
on-
ask you about the title.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's really entertaining. And you've got some great cameos in there.
Yeah, well, for conservative Catholic, we still won 6 Best Picture awards.
No, it's actually a really fun watch. But I found out a lot about you, and I didn't know that you're not really one to want to share the stage with anyone. I feel like you've had a lot of groups, you've had a lot of bands,
Yeah.
but you're more of a solo act.
Yeah, I'm not like a.
According to John Oates. He was saying that.
Yeah, John Oates was my lead
If you
guitar
guys don't know
player.
who John Oates is,
That's
Hall
from
and
Hall and
Oates.
Hall and Oates was
My lead guitar player.
your lead guitarist.
I was the lead singer, not him.
So how did that fall apart?
Well, you know what? Like, he was going to college. We were just, you know, a rock band. And, you know, it was like in those days, hey, man, I'm going to college and travel Europe, you know, with a nap
Right,
accent.
right.
So he went off. And then, of course, he came back. He was always good friends with Daryl Hall. And they started a group, and the rest is history. They
Well, it's
became-
so interesting because I went to a concert, a Hall and Oates concert about
Lot
2
of
or
hit
3 years
records,
ago.
man.
Yeah.
I went about 3 years ago, and I somehow ended up backstage, and he came up to me and was like, I used to be in a band with your uncle and talked all about you.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, they introduced you as Sistine Stallone?
I don't
So
know what they did,
He must have
but
known your last name, yeah.
possibly
100%. He
because
wouldn't have
he
come
was
up and said
talking
Wasn't he
about
nice?
you. The sweetest.
He's very nice.
But I thought that was so. I didn't know that you were in a band with him. I freaked out.
Isn't that wild?
I also want to talk about you were really upset about being snubbed from the Academy Award nomination.
Well,
What was
yeah.
it for Far From Over?
It was for best song. And the reason I wasn't, listen, I don't dislike Barbra Streisand, but that day I did. But I think she's an iconic, great artist.
Yeah,
but this
she
is what
is.
happened. The year 1983, and I came, you know, from Zip. I mean, I was my brother's stand-in Rocky III. And I sang. So I got beat up by him in the movie. I got beat up by Mr. T, and I'm on stage singing. So I was like the singing heavy bag, you know?
Yeah,
So-
right.
And he always cheap shot. He hit me hard, like bang, you know. So
He was practicing
practicing.
for his role.
It's still in his 30s, still punching me, right? So what happened? There were 5 songs that were nominated. There was "What a Feeling" from Flashdance, "Maniac" from Flashdance, "Far From Over" from Staying Alive, one song from Tender Mercies that never even charted past like 98, and one from Yentl, Barbra Streisand, that never got into at the bottom of the chart.
That's a pretty stacked
yeah, but
nomination
Far
group.
From Over was #1 at the
Yeah, number
chart.
1. So was Maniac, and so was
That's
What a
what I say.
Feeling.
Yeah, What a Feeling.
So
is
I figured-
incredible.
So I was doing my first album cover shoot with one of the great, he became a very famous photographer, Greg Gorman. And I was there with my girlfriend, Chelsea. She was one of the solid gold dancers on TV. It was like, yeah.
Chelsea.
That's
Where
it.
is Chelsea?
Yeah.
We need to bring Chelsea on.
Chelsea's married to the guy, what's that famous, Scott Bakula.
I don't know who the hell that is.
Scott Bakula's been on TV for like 80 years.
All right, good for Chelsea.
So anyway, good for her, yeah. Good for me.
Good for
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
No. So what happens? So I'm doing the shoot with my brother, and we're having champagne, and that is the day they're announcing the Academy, nominations. And I wasn't expecting to win. I thought my friend Michael Cimbello was going to win for Maniac, which I thought was a great song. Mm-hmm. So, but at least it would have been really cool to have been nominated. It would have been like two brothers, him nominated for Rocky, Best Writer, Best Actor, and me, nominated for Best Song.
It's amazing.
Which would have been kind of cool to be nominated
It'd
anyway,
be incredible.
right? So my brother calls. I'm going to shoot. And I know it's, yeah, you doing, brother? I said, oh, fuck. Here
You already knew.
No. I thought, I said, what happened, man? He goes, I got bad news. I said, who died? There was no way in my mind I thought I was going to lose my nomination. There's only 5 songs nominated, right? He goes, you lost your nomination. I go, what?
How?
Oh no.
That's impossible. How could I lose it? There were only 5 songs. There were 5 songs in the Grammys, 5 songs in the Golden Globes, and 5 songs in the Oscar. You know what they did? Mine was number 1. They took my song out and put another Barbara Streisand song in.
Oh, so they put 2 for her.
2 for her.
Why?
And they bubbled under at 90. They never even rated.
Oh, so
And
that's
then I was pissed.
yeah. Then that
Because
makes
I knew I
sense.
got screwed on that
Yeah.
How long
totally.
did it take you to get over that? I would take
Still,
that
I'm
long.
pissed off.
Yeah.
I said, Barbara Streisand.
No.
Now I go, you know what?
So wait. So
Little
to
unfair.
contrast this whole thing, what's your most proud moment as a musician?
I think my most proud moment was all the attention I got when Staying Alive came out. Because you have to understand, I've been struggling for 19 years, since I was 15 years old. So it was, and I was always, and especially before it was one thing, but when Rocky came out, I just got Rocky to death. Everything I did was like, hey, I like your song. Hey, what's it like being Rocky's brother? So that was just like, it was
Right.
something I couldn't get away with
from.
because you got to understand, he was 29, I was 25. He was at the peak. He was the biggest movie star in the world, peak of his career. So it wasn't like there was a handbook. So what do you do when an unemployed actor becomes the biggest movie star in the world overnight?
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's like the first viral
Huge.
person because today that's like
It's
so
huge.
so actually is that why then you named your documentary Stallone Frank that is?
Yeah, because-
to kind of highlight and kind of make fun of the fact that
because they would always I do these cheap movies when I was starting out. Coming Stallone, and then under it have Frank like this big and microscopic like letters. So they would sell.
Yeah, but wouldn't that hurt your feelings just a little bit?
Well, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
but they had one thing. Christopher Mitchum and myself did a movie. It was a horrible movie, but anyway, his father was Robert Mitchum, was a great star. So I saw the poster, and it says Stallone. Mitchum, these huge letters, and our faces with the pistol. It's the exact same poster from Nighthawks. That's
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But our names are this small. It's Stallone this big and Frank under there. Listen, most of these guys were cheesy anyway. They were just trying to sell it to
I feel like that's
like
with everything
Istanbul
today.
or somewhere,
Well, no, they always try to do that. With anything, they're going to put the
I mean,
biggest
this
name.
is
And it is still
something-
your name. So it's
But
still
it is something that Sophia and I can definitely relate to you on. I think for a long time we really struggled to find our own identity and
Yeah.
our own name. And every time we did do something or get a cool opportunity, people would say, oh, the door was open. Oh, you got it because of your dad, et cetera, et cetera. And it really takes yourself to give you, you need a mental shift because you could either live your life feeling bad for yourself or just accept the opportunities that come and sort of block out all the other noise.
Yeah, listen, you girls worked hard to get this show going. The thing
No, but
is,
I'm saying
you
you
will
worked
get
ha-
it. And if other things happen in the future that are big, we'll all get it. Well, the reason they're I said, you know what? Okay. They said that about me and Staying Alive. I said, yeah, but I wrote the songs. No one wrote the songs.
That's the thing. You actually put in the work, you put in the sweat, the tears.
And if they were lousy songs, as you know, Hollywood is not that generous. If they were not good songs, they're not
They
going
would-
in the
they would
movie.
say yes, yeah.
Your
They're not
song's
going-
raw.
absolutely
Thank
not.
you. But they're not going in the movie.
No.
And I have to give my brother credit. Thank God the Bee Gees quit. Or I wouldn't have been around because I tried to push my songs all the time.
Yeah.
And they're always like, yeah, it sounds really good. Next.
I want to talk
Right.
about you on stage
Okay.
Last time we saw you, you were playing at this really cool jazz bar.
Right.
And you're so funny because you talk to the people, you interact with the crowd. If someone goes to the bathroom, you say, "Hey, where are you going?"
Yeah.
You point at them. You say, "Why do you do that?"
Pull your fly up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just that, I think it comes from all the years, as I was telling the gals before, when I was coming up, like when your father used to come to see me, so I played 4 shows a night. That was 160 minutes of music per night.
Wow.
And me being the main singer. So that's 5 nights a week, 160 minutes. So it's a lot of time. So doing that, it was a great breeding ground for dialogue, talking to people, because we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have that stuff. So when you'd play 40 minutes, you'd have a 20-minute break. You go over, talk to people at the bar, the girls, whatever, and you learned it. It's like were you saying you wanted to do a stand-up comic thing?
Yes.
It's brutal, man. Let me tell you
Don't
something.
even get me started. I'm really thinking this is a bad idea.
I think it's a real bad idea.
But that's why
I'll
it's going to
just
be
tell you,
fantastic.
because you die alone. And I can tell you my comedy career. I'll tell you what happened. And I am funny on stage.
Yeah, you are
sometimes.
funny.
Wait,
you are
you
funny.
had a comedy
I actually
career?
should take some advice from you.
No,
from
I
doing
did.
it.
For one day, and I said, "This is not for me." I was playing at a place where your dad went to college in Coconut Grove called the Flick. It was a coffee house, very famous. I was opening for a few acts. Dion, that was a famous singer in the 50s, and someone else. But for some reason, I don't know, I just went through my set really fast. So I'm going upstairs. He goes, "Hey, kid, where do you think you're going?" I said, "Well, I'm done." He goes, "Nah, you're not done. You have to play for another 20 minutes. I said, "I don't have any more songs."
Oh God.
"Well, do something." So I went on stage,
And you started doing.
and I didn't have my guitar, and I started doing comedy, stand-up. I got a standing ovation.
Really?
So the owner fired me as a musician and hired me as a comic.
No way.
So I swear to God, honey, the next day I went on stage, and I died so bad.
Wait,
it was
wait.
like,
I have a question. I have a question.
Like-
So bad.
So you
Why
went
am
up.
I
You went
doing
up the
this?
first time. No material.
Killed it.
Just shooting the shit. Killed it. Did you come in the next day having some things prepared? Were you gonna
Nah.
plan on repeating what you had
just
said?
kind of repeat, wing it. And I realized that
God.
comedy is really an art. I mean, that's why these guys you see when they go on stage, they have tape recorders. I mean, they really study what works and doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
It's very hard. I mean,
Yeah.
guys like Bill Burr, you think it looks easy, but that's
It's so nice.
years
It's
and
timing.
years.
It's like
Same thing with being a stage performer. Like
It's
that.
years and years.
So hard. Are you planning on getting back on stage soon?
Yes.
Possibly in Oklahoma City or Atlantic City. What's happening?
I would like to play in Atlantic City and have the family come down see me, because Atlantic City, even though I'm not from New Jersey, I lived there a long time. That is kind of my stomping grounds: Philadelphia, Atlantic City, Delaware, and some New York. And my friend is the CEO of the Hard Rock. And I said, "Man, I mean, don't you think my show would be perfect for casinos?"
Perfect.
Perfect for
oh
casinos.
yeah.
Perfect for
Perfect.
casinos.
It's a very weird show. That's why I have a problem. They go, "Well, tell me what your show's like." I go, "I can't." Because
no, it's a lot of fun.
It's so you can't really
Eclectic.
describe it. Yeah, honestly, every single time I've gone to your show, it's been totally different.
because I have albums in big band and, of course, stuff from the movies and stuff. So it transcends it. It's a very smooth transition. I might start out with, "But cause it's witchcraft, dun, dun, dun," like Sinatra. And then all of a sudden I'll go into, "Baby," like a soul song.
Yeah.
But it just slides into it. And then all of a sudden I'll do Johnny Cash, Ring of Fire.
It's so much fun.
And so it's really, I hate to say it because it sounds like a schmaltzy like act. Hey, there's something for everybody, but it's rock and roll. I
Would
mean,
you
when
try
it,
like Kings of Leon?
I love the Kings of Leon.
Why didn't you sing that? Like something a little bit more current too.
we gotta get him on TikTok.
I'm like the worst. I'm definitely not current. I didn't even know who Drake is. They go, "Uncle Frank, whatever."
We don't talk like that.
I don't
every
know, but I know
time.
Post Malone is, who I think is great.
He
Yeah.
loves Post Malone.
I do like him. I think he's really good.
I think you guys would be best friends. But my
yeah.
favorite part, one of my favorite parts about watching you perform, is seeing all of the women in the front row just swoon.
Oh,
And can I
swoon.
tell you, honest to God, I swear to you, I promise, I'm not even aware. People go,
No, you're
"Frank,
in the zone."
what are you thinking?" That girl's like, I go, "Where is she?" She goes, "She's right here in the front." I go, "All right." But I'm really kind of.
You can't tell me back in the day you didn't notice.
Oh,
the
yeah.
hot chick
Well, I
in
was
the
in
front
a
row.
bar this big playing. It was pretty hard to notice. The scary thing was there is that, when I was a 22-year-old kid, I was, what they call full of piss and vinegar. And so We used to kind of chase, because I started late. I didn't have my first sexual interlude until I was 21, which is ancient for the 60s. You're talking peace and love in the 60s. And my brother goes, hey, what's wrong with you, man? I said, no, no,
Sly,
man.
shut up.
Yeah, he was like, the lecture, okay?
Oh my God.
So I was a late starter. You have to understand, in the 60s, peace and love, people were getting laid, whatever.
Yeah,
but it was a
of course.
different era.
Yeah.
And I was in the music business, but I was like, I made it like, hey, man, you should see what I did last night. Like, actually nothing.
No.
But I was on stage and people, so when I got the opportunity to get my band together and we were already playing those clubs, I made up for lost time immensely so. So
In terms of catching up.
yes,
Yeah.
right, catching up.
Good for you.
Because I was 23, so the girls were like 19, 22,
So
24.
is that why you've stayed single forever? Like you said, the last time you had a girlfriend was in the 70s.
80s.
Well, you
80s.
brought over
Still.
a few girls for
few
Christmas,
girls,
and I
yeah.
really
Yeah,
liked all
every
of
year
them.
was a new girl, but they're all sweet.
They're nice.
My synopsis. I think maybe you got heartbroken really bad once, and it just
Could've.
left a scar
Did you ever
on your heart.
have you ever been heartbroken?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, everyone gets heartbroken. It's just such a drag. Like you always ask me, Uncle Frank, you've never owned a dog. Well, either of you. I mean, we had family dogs.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you don't have like a dog. So I never
But
lived
I
on my
know
own.
that for 1,000,000,000%, I will get my own dog eventually.
but
Why didn't you ever? Were you just
I don't want a dog. I don't
on my
want it.
own.
Yeah.
She
Well,
always says that. It's
I
freaky.
just thinking
It's a lot of work.
Picking up poop first thing in the morning is not my idea of like sexy. Hey, honey, I'll be out. Let me just pick up some dog crap. Thank you.
Straying away from the animal talk, when you were at like the height of your career, you said staying alive you were doing.
I'd say that with 83, that's when it all kicked in, when I was yearning for the respect that I yearned for so many years
And
with
you got
fellow
it. You think
artists.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellow artists come, hey, man, Tina Turner came to the premiere of Staying Alive. She goes, man, you should write some songs for me. Of course, I should have, because the next year her album, Private Dancer, sold 40 million copies.
Why didn't you?
Because of the knucklehead. I don't know why I didn't.
Because you had Sly as your manager, and that was the problem.
Oh, that's right.
So you're at the height of your career.
Yeah.
I'm sure women are coming after you left and right. Did you have a go-to line that was sort of just in your back pocket that you'd always use?
Yeah, what are you doing later? That was
Oh.
no.
That easy, huh?
Hey, I'm in town for only a few hours. What are you up
It's
to?
funny, Cecilia.
But I did have a girlfriend at that time. That was the
you
dancer
did?
from
was she your only
Yes.
girlfriend?
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yes.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, I admit I'm a horrible boyfriend. I'm the worst.
Why were you just not
Why?
consistent?
Well, I wasn't like I wouldn't say I was the most honest boyfriend out there.
Oh.
Because I figured, and I think there is a protective mode of protecting your emotions in that way. Where, on the other hand, your father and I are raised in the same house, but he always had a girlfriend. And I think because he's a Cancer, which is the moon sign, and of course I'm a Leo, which is like
You're
all the-
Leo?
Yeah.
Are you into astrology just as much as he is?
Well, I'm into it because my mother was into it.
Right.
See, that's the thing. People don't realize
It
when we
runs
talk
in
about
the
astrology, we're not like just doing it
Her
randomly.
grandmother
yeah.
wrote books on it.
Yeah, so we do
And
kind
she
of
was
believe
kind
it.
of, and she was out there.
No, she was an ass reader.
No.
Oh, rumpology. I said, Mom, that's enough.
Well,
So
let
I was
me-
there. What, are you kidding me?
Let me explain it.
Have you ever
know-
judged a girl on her sign?
I do it all the time.
Really?
All the time.
So what's your compatibility?
For me, probably Aries, Leo, maybe Sag. Scorpio's a no-no for Frankster.
Yeah.
But I'm really attracted to him, but I know it's just a disaster. It's
Disaster
like
waiting to
walking into a
happen.
propeller. Because it first starts good because they're really sexy and they're like funny, but they're very, very jealous.
Deep and emotional.
Very possessive. So the two times I've, like you said, had my heart broken, both Scorpios, but I still keep coming back like an idiot. And it's like, but I know, but now I predict a disaster. I know it's going to fail.
You know Sistine's a Cancer,
I know she is.
right? I'm a Virgo.
Virgo, and the
Scarlett's
little
a
one's a Gemini.
Gemini.
But she is like a Gemini.
She's such a
She's such a
Gemini.
She's
Gemini.
everywhere. She's
She's
like,
She's everywhere.
she.
Why we don't sound like that?
Well, you sound like you're from California, even though you were born in Miami. You're born and raised. The only time I ever saw the girl's birth, well, not birth, the date was Scarlett.
Really?
Yeah, because you were born
I was in Florida.
Florida.
She was in. You were in
I was
LA.
in LA.
What year were you born?
98.
I think I was fighting with your father then. I don't think we were talking.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because you guys brothers go through.
We've gone where we don't talk for a few
Right,
years. And it's really
highs
sucks.
and lows.
Yeah.
And,
I hate it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You don't
Do you
have to
think
get
he's
into
judgmental?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't say he's judgmental. I
But
think it's
I'll tell
more
you from like a cancer side,
Yeah.
very sensitive. So
Oh, he is
if
very
we,
sensitive.
If I feel like Sophia hurt me, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lash right back out and then forgive right away like she would. We honestly need to remove ourselves for a certain period of time,
Like
and
I
then
remember
we'll feel
fights
better.
that we've had where it was blowout fights. Sistine has said to me, "Leave me," because I'm one of those people. Let's talk it out
Let's
and figure it
resolve
out
it.
and resolve it right now.
And you kind of like to go in
And
your
she
own
need to
goes away
separate.
for like 4 hours, and I'm reeling in my head because I can't.
So I
do
think
that.
my dad's the
That's
same
what
way,
he
but
does.
there was a bit of a long-term separation.
There was, and I hate that because I love my
Yeah.
brother. I mean, I think he's one of the funniest guys I ever met.
You guys
Now,
are
he's
hilarious together.
sarcastically funny. I mean, he really is funny.
Yeah, he is.
Like, we were having dinner, and he mentioned, like, something about, no, listen, it's like, you don't listen. If I say Polly wants a cracker, and for some
Oh,
reason he
yeah.
said that, and we all started,
It just makes no sense.
his mother, we were just cracking up. He goes, what's so funny? I said, just, why that?
Oh, yeah,
Polly
added
wants a
everything.
cracker.
I know. I feel like we just make fun of the things and his catchphrases.
But he
says
is
all the
funny.
time. He is funny.
He's
But
extremely
he's funny until he makes you the punchline of the joke,
Well,
because
that's-
there has been multiple times,
Oh, my whole career's
multiple
been
stories of him just torturing you.
Can I tell you
for
the
laughter.
true story about the stolen guitar?
Yeah.
Sure.
This thing has been going around since 1970. And even her mother in my documentary says, Sly has no memory of anything. She
Yeah,
goes, I
he's
always
bad
go to
memory.
Frank. Like, it's a different story.
Yeah,
100%.
it is totally different
He
story.
embellishes it. Okay, this is what happened. I think I was living in Philadelphia, and I hadn't seen him probably a year and a half until I moved to New York and we were living together.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to, I'm going to leave the music store nameless, in Manhattan. And he walked in, and it was a Martin 12-string, which at that time, $350 was a lot of money in 1970.
Oh,
Believe it
yeah.
or not, it's like $4,000 now. And he was there, and he doesn't even play. And he stole this, took the guitar, ran out of the store with this brand new Martin guitar. And I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So he had this guitar for a few years. It's not like he stole it from me like I was standing there, hey, here's your... So all of a sudden, I said, hey, Sly, man, what are you going to do with this guitar? You know, when I moved to New York, he says, I don't know. I said, why'd you take it? I don't know. He didn't say he took it from me.
Oh, he just
He
took
was a
it from
klepto.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
he's
said
just-
that he took it for you.
And he said he wanted to
Then
give you
why
a present.
he hadn't talked to
And he
me
never
for
gave it
years
to you. Oh.
until years later. So then, and I said, you did not steal it from me. Your father, God rest bless him, had very light fingers in the old days. He was just, we didn't have anything. He would like,
No, he honestly, when he tells the story of how he stole that guitar, he said it was one of the scariest moments ever because it was a heavy guitar and him running down that street trying to be secretive about it was impossible.
Yeah, it was. But he didn't. But so what happened, I traded it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
When I went to Florida, there was a famous singer in Florida who wrote Everybody's Talking named Fred Neal, and he's just a great artist. And there was this Cuban-made 12-string called a Miguel Compañé, which is a beautiful guitar. And this guy had it playing. I was looking, I go, man, because I loved Fred Neal. It was a beautiful 12-string. And I had the Martin. And I liked the Martin, but I liked that one better. So I wheeled and deal with this guy for like 5 months. And he goes, okay, we'll trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
He got so mad.
Well, years later, he goes, is that the Martin? I go, yeah, man, that's a Martin. He doesn't know anything, the difference
No,
between
yeah.
guitars. And then he found out I traded. Hey, you know, I could have gone to jail.
Yeah, he
He
always
starts
says
yelling. I said, dude, you didn't steal from me because you had it for a few years before you ever gave it to me. And I wasn't even living in New York. And John Hertzfeld goes, hey, brother. John
His best
Hertzfeld's
friend.
like our family. You know, he's been Sly's friend for how long?
For like
56
56 years.
Yeah. And so that's what, so I just said, okay, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just,
It's such a
I can't
funny
win.
story.
But he did not, it wasn't like a burnt offering, like he came home, he goes, hey, look what I got for you. Like
Oh my God.
I had like a shoebox
Yeah.
for a guitar or something. No.
I would have to say one of my favorite stories ever between the two of you was, I believe you were in Hawaii, and there was something to do with a black sea urchin and your afro.
He stuck at my face and hair.
Basically,
I hate skin diving. So they go, hey, you want to take skin diving lessons? I go, not really. And my hair was like down to here. It was curly. It was like this. and we're under there, and he just cannot help himself. All of a sudden, he pulls my mask off, and I go into total panic mode. I come up, I go, "What are you doing, man?" So then he finds a sea urchin, and he sticks it like right kind of in my hair and face.
And it just latches.
You can't get it out.
Latches to his hair.
So now I come out of the water, I look like a total moron with the sea urchin like stuck in my hair, and he thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
Wait, how did you get it off? Did he have to pee on
I have
you?
no idea how I got it. I think I had to cut some of my hair. I was really pissed.
Sistine has thalassophobia.
Yeah, because, as
I
you
think
know,
you might have thalassophobia.
falafel? I'm afraid of falafels or what?
Thalassophobia is fear of deep water.
Yes, we hate Greek
And like not
food.
knowing what's underneath.
Oh, no. Yeah, because we had a summer house, man, and I was always afraid I was going to step on one of those snapping turtles. It freaked me out. So,
That's like I would be more scared of sharks.
but
Snapping turtles.
no, turtles. But as you talk in my documentary, we talked about my panic attack era, which was horrible.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Actually, that's funny,
Because
'cause you
this
did
is
write
something
this
I would
out.
love to touch on. I never knew that you suffered with anxiety and panic attacks.
Deadly.
And I really wanted to ask
that
how...
makes sense where I got it from.
No, it definitely
you, guys.
But I want to ask how you
Oh.
were able to cope with it in your
Well.
generation, because today it's a different time. We have way more resources,
Well,
tools,
there was no
help.
resources. No.
So how did you go through
Well,
that?
it just happened. It just came upon me one day, and it was the most terrifying thing
It
I
really
ever
is the
felt in
scariest
my
thing.
life. Because I said, am I possessed by a devil? No, you have weird thoughts. You have gory thoughts. You have fear thoughts. It's things. I think what saved me was music, because
Wow.
I when I'd be on stage, I'd be fine. But anything having to do with personal, that's probably why I didn't date or things like that. I was
of
just like,
course.
and it's not so much the panic attack, it's the fear of one coming on is scarier than the thing.
Really?
Yeah, so, but they didn't have anything. I mean, I tried lithium, this and that, but they didn't have any, like Xanax then. This is 1960s. And all of a sudden I was ashamed, like, to talk
Right.
to anybody about it. It's the same, I mean, what do you do, go to a doctor? Hey, I dreamed I threw someone off a building. You go, really? Okay. So
put you in
you're
a
afraid
house.
because you're not in control of those things and your
course.
thoughts. And I think I never had them driving. I had one recently driving. That is not fun. I pulled over. I go,
No.
whoa, second.
What age did this start for you?
19. It started when I was about 19 till about 25, 26. And I used to talk to your father about it. I said, man, I don't know. I thought I was possessed. I said, what did I do?
So scary, because you've never talked to anyone about it, and then you're afraid to tell
You're
people
afraid
about
to,
it.
I mean, how do you talk to, trying to meet a girl and go, hey, you know what? I had these thoughts. The girl goes, hey, okay. I have to go.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. So eventually I kind of outgrew it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it goes away because then
Do
you
you
realize.
think so? Because my dad still suffers some anxiety.
Now, I saw your father, and he developed panic attack. I saw him have one on the Today Show. I saw it.
Really?
Oh, yes.
What happened?
Well, he did the show. I mean, you got to buck up and do the show, but you go, Frank, I'm dying. We
Yeah,
got
you
off.
can't breathe.
It was terrifying. But yeah, listen, man, I wouldn't want, I mean, he's had a great life, but I wouldn't want to be the guy that everywhere you go, everyone knows who you are. I mean, you really can't go anywhere in the planet without being recognized. That's tough.
You're more of you like to stay sort of under the radar.
Well, I
You
have
like
an
to do what
ego.
you
I
like to do.
yeah, I think more like the music thing.
It's cool.
I like,
yeah.
but his thing, this is before he met your mother,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't married at the time. But we met these two girls at the Oakwood Apartments.
Oh, boy.
He goes, yeah, let's go visit them. I said, okay, man. I said, but you can't walk around. Everyone, don't worry about it. So he's wearing a coat, a big hat, and sunglasses. So we're walking through the parking lot of the Oakwood. These people walk by and go, hey, Sly, how you doing, man? We doing
they
another
still-
Rocky?
yeah.
Because then you realize
Mm-hmm.
his head is 40 feet on the screen all these years, and they know and he does have a certain way he walks.
Of course.
Right,
Gives
right,
away.
right. But they probably recognized you alongside
Yeah, they didn't
him.
recognize me at all. No, this was, I think, before Staying Alive. But we had some funny times. I mean, he used to wear those Speedos.
Oh, what?
Well, yeah, he goes,
Oh, I've seen some
I don't
pictures.
even
He
wanna
looks like a
see any more
total
pictures.
grease ball.
this is when he was really built after doing Rocky 3. And I was wearing like a real jive bathing suit. So we're in Vegas. He goes, all right, I own this territory. He walks out in this bright, like that color blue Speedo.
Oh,
And he's
geez.
like
no.
ripped. and I'm there like wearing like balloon pants or something like that. But he's funny though. I mean, we've had.
No, you guys, I love the relationship that you and my
It's
dad
weird.
have.
I mean, that's why when we don't talk, it really bugs me. And thanks to your mother's kind of the peacekeeper.
100%.
She is, you know, I
She's
think
the
that-
glue.
Because she likes everyone being happy, even though
does.
she gets her mood stupid.
And
she
we love
likes,
having you around. We always miss you when you're not there.
Yeah, we have fun because he, you know, being that famous, he knows he can trust me. I'm not a snitch. I'm not a rat.
Right.
I mean, I've been offered to sell stories, and he knows he can trust me. I know everything. We know everything about each other. And that is a true story that he did put my hands in a cement mixer and took all the skin off my hands from
Oh
here to
my
here.
God, why would he do that?
Because he was
'Cause it's him.
Dennis the Menace.
He
A
was.
cement mixer?
He did, yeah. You know, like you see the wheel, the cement mixer, the grooves that kind of go in like that.
Oh,
I
my
put my
God.
hands there, it goes, yeah, and he turned the wheel, and it went. And I
Okay.
pulled my hands up. and
One
the
day you
skin
need to
came
prank
off.
him and get back
I
at
have
him.
to say, though, for being a really good guitarist, you've been shot in the hand, you've had your hands in a cement mixer,
Yeah.
yet you still play really well. And I think
I try.
the Unwaxers would love to hear a little something. You brought your
You
guitar
brought your
today.
guitar.
Oh. One summer day in the fall, a red-headed woman, she took a fall, and now she's gone. I can't worry, I'm sitting on top of the world.
That was so good.
I can't
Old
think.
blues songs.
I can't think of a better way to wrap the episode.
Yeah,
than
seriously.
Well, girls, I'm very proud of you. I'm happy I finally did the show. Is this like show 200? Or?
This is actually almost 100.
That. This is going to be in the 90s.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening
Girls,
to this.
I love
with
you.
him.
I'm so happy
We
you had
love
me on
him.
the show. And we got some exciting stuff coming up in the future, which
Yep.
I'm sure these young ladies will.
Yes.
Eventually
Make sure
talk
you
about.
follow him, Frank.Stallone on Instagram.
Right.
Frank Stallone Guitars. Watch Stallone. Frank, that is the documentary on Amazon Prime. And we will.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.